40s overnight with tapering showers into the afternoon. From the KIRO 7 Pinpoint Weather Center, meteorologist Claire Anderson.
It's 52 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Subscribe to us on YouTube for our can't miss clips. KIRO Radio 97.3 FM with Tom and Curly now on your drive home.
The KIRO Radio text line is brought to you by State Roofing.
The Big Lead is brought to you by 3010 Weight Loss for Life.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
Coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio. Welcome. Welcome to the big show. Glad you can be with us. Welcome to the weekend. Got an awful lot to talk about. I got to say it all in the next 3 hours. Then I'm going to take a powder for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, according to the doc. But yeah, so just a reminder, Monday, get my knee replaced, and then I'll be back. We just hooked up all the equipment at the house last night, Nicole.
Oh, good. It's working? Did we test it?
So now the plan, as I understand it, because I think I'm going to go stark raving mad. The plan, as I understand it, is I'm going to maybe pop on with Todd and you as soon as possible after the surgery.
Absolutely.
Okay, like the day out.
Of course.
Okay, all right. And so are we going to do it at a set time?
Well, I mean, let's go around your schedule. We'll see what your schedule is like.
Okay, all right.
But, I was told you only need ice, so you don't even need to worry about being under the influence.
I'll be lucid.
Yeah.
I'll be lucid. And if I'm not, it'll be fun. It'll be really fun to listen to. So I'm gonna pop in on, I hope, a daily basis. Probably not Monday.
Probably not.
That's the day.
You don't even know what time you're having it yet, right?
Well, I have to be there at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, okay.
If I'm done by noon.
Let's give you Monday. We'll give you Monday.
How about if I do a phoner? Let's do a phoner. Right at the beginning.
We'll see how it goes.
Right at noon on Monday.
I'll be in touch with your wife.
No, you're leaving my wife out of this. We've already talked about this. Right at noon on Monday, if I'm not in the OR.
Yeah, if you're out and you can pop on and say, made it.
Yeah. I'll be able to say something.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is exciting.
We'll do it.
Now I'm really fired up for this. So anyway, Todd Herman's going to be with you, but I'll pop on as often as possible because it's killing me right now. It is killing me because, as I said a couple of days ago, I was just flying high with everything that was happening nationally, watching the disaster in Iowa for the Democrats. Trump gets his highest approval ever. The trend line for the Democrat primaries is disastrous. But it's really interesting because we got two Americas going on right now, just from the little perspective of us living here in the Pacific Northwest. Because while we are dealing with skyrocketing crime, heroin junkie vagrants all over the streets, urine and excrement, human all over the streets, businesses are suffering. I'm going to talk to a restaurant owner in the 1 o'clock hour. His story is heartbreaking. He is the American dream. And he has places in other cities, and he says Seattle is the toughest place to be a business owner right now. And we are starting to see that because we have a governor who is completely disinterested in absolutely every plight that is important to your life. And that is our big lead.
The Big Lead. Top story.
So, Donald Trump, 2 days ago, got his highest Gallup poll approval rating in his presidency. Higher than Barack Obama was at the same stage of his presidency. So while the president is soaring with people around the country who never seemed like they would come around and be as supportive, but people are getting dragged kicking and screaming because of record low unemployment rates, because of real wage growth. Huge jobs numbers came out today nationally, blowing away all expectations. The number of Americans not in the workforce is at an all-time low. We have full employment. People are getting self-sufficient. People's incomes and their families growing. And so even if they can't stand Donald Trump personally, they approve of America right now. 63% approve of how the president handles the economy. But the most shocking stat of them all, 90% of Americans today, February 7th, 2020, 90% of Americans say they are satisfied with their life. That has never happened before, cracking 90% in America. So around the country, people are soaring. They're ebullient. They're feeling wonderful. Here in the Pacific Northwest, it's a different story. We got a government that is failing us. We have crime running rampant. The politicians' solution to out-of-control crime is to just make up crime stats, to just tell us lies when we all know it's not true. Oh, property crime's down, violent crime's down. And, oh, can we see this data? Oh, no, the crime database is down also. Everything's down. As I said, we have legalized drugs in King County, which has brought in drug-dealing gangs who engage in shootouts on the streets of downtown Seattle. We have the effect of that drug legalization laying in every park and school, littering our sidewalks with heroin needles. And as I said, pooing and piddling in the doorways of good, honest business owners trying to make a living. And so that is why Jay Inslee, brand new poll that came out today, Jay Inslee's approval rating in Washington, where he's won 2 terms as governor, this is devastating for him. 41% approval for Jay Inslee. I want you to think about that. That in a blue state that has voted for this guy twice, his approval rating is way lower than a president where half the country says they absolutely hate him, than the president's approval nationally. That is a disaster for Jay Inslee. And why? Because he doesn't care at all about the crime in the Puget Sound area. He doesn't care about the homelessness. He's never done anything about any of these things. Gridlock, how many people were sitting in 90-minute commutes? What's the solution from his party? Let's remove reducing congestion from the list of goals for the State Department of Transportation. Inslee cares about a couple of things. He cares about his phony profession about climate change. You know he doesn't believe a word he says about climate change. He would not live his life the way he does if he truly believed his own words. And he cares about bringing as many illegals as possible to our state. And if they kill a cop or two along the way, well, that's just collateral damage to the broader goal of let's create the largest nanny state. And when you bring people here, since you've got low unemployment, who are we going to have completely dependent on government if people are raising up their own lives by working? Well, people who don't speak the language, which consigns you to economic challenges. And then we can provide, food stamps and housing and school and then medicine for the people who are imported through the illegality process. So people recognize that that's all Jay Inslee's about. And it doesn't do anything for our lives, for the things that are important to us, our families, our homes, our kids, our security, that our children can walk down the street without stepping on a heroin needle. The things we really care about, our politicians have zero interest. Jenny Durkin, she just gets whisked by her security detail to her $10 million Lake Washington mansion. They don't have any heroin needles there. And Dow Constein, he's got his 3 full-time sheriff's people who can take him out drinking. And I'm sure that if there's a heroin needle in front of the bar, just like in Say Anything when John Cusack kind of wipes away the broken glass for, who is that, Ione Skye? Is that who that was? Is it Ione Skye? You don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
You don't have a clue what I'm talking about. We look up who the actress in Say Anything was. See if it was Ione Skye. But, John Cusack wipes it away. That's what the King County Sheriff's security people do for Dow. It was Ione. Thank you. That's what they do for Dow Constein when he walks into a bar so he can spend a few hours drinking. And womanizing, according to my sources, they just wipe the heroin needle away with their foot and everything will be fine. Now, here's the other thing in this poll, though, that's interesting with Jay Inslee's horrible numbers. There's no Republican who anybody even knows. Lauren Culp, the Republic police chief we've had on the show, he'd get 5% of the vote. Former Bothell Mayor Joshua Freed, we've had him on the show. Phil Fortunato, the state senator, we've had him on the show. They're at 4%. Anton Sakharov, who I need to get on the show, he's at 3%. So there's no Republican emerging. If there's only somebody with some name recognition who could jump into the Republican race, who could straighten out this state, I got a lot of thinking to do. Seriously, while I'm out with my name. Because there's no Republican. And then Tim Eyman is an independent. He might be a Republican. Nobody knows if the Republican Party would have him, but Eyman's got the name recognition at least. But right now, only 11% say they would vote for Eyman. But Inslee's numbers are disastrous. And it's because the things that affect your and my life, he has no care about whatsoever. So we'll keep an eye very close on how things develop here because it is clear that our state is not headed in the right direction. And it is also stark that when America elsewhere feels so great about life and about where the country's headed, it is amazing that here in Washington State, people feel so horrible about their governor. Here, King 5, I had, my old buddy, Ron Sims. Not today, not ever. Ron Sims on the show.
Governor Inslee has a lot of work to do. The numbers were not good for him.
Horrible numbers, even according to a big leftist like Ron Sims. Ron Sims, who lied to you and me on this show about Sound Transit financing. Ron Sims' lies ended up costing voters billions of dollars. Just want to make sure you know who you're getting all this info from. Ron Sims says, it's even worse for Eyman, though.
These numbers would indicate that there is no hope and no miracles are going to be available. He's going to lose, and he will lose badly.
Okay, and then King 5 talked with political analyst Scott McClellan. Oh, man, it's almost like this guy is talking to me.
I would fully expect that he's in great shape for re-election, as there doesn't seem to be any really viable Republican candidate running for office.
Nicole, come on, let me run. Let me run for gov. You'll be my chief of staff.
We'll see how 3 weeks without you goes.
It'll go fine.
Yeah.
It'll go fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be my chief of staff. We'll clean this place up. We'll clean the joint up. And then it'll take me just a few months to clean up everything. And then I'll resign. And then I'll come back to whatever station will have me.
Mm-hmm. You probably wouldn't be able to do basketball for sure again.
Coach?
Yeah, because it would be around the same time that you got to squeeze those 3 months in.
No, I'll clean up the state. Shoot.
Yeah, your schedule's not going to allow it.
Yeah, the election's going to be right before the first week of tryouts. Dang it! There's always a monkey in the wrench. Okay. Oh, by the way, one other thing about Jay Inslee.
We need you to be the voice.
Oh, I can be the voice as governor. I know. I think I'm more effective in this job than I could be as governor because I would have so many obstructionists around me. I'd have a legislature that would despise me.
Can you imagine even more obstructionists?
You know what I can't imagine? I can't imagine working in a place where even more coworkers despise me.
Right.
But that would actually be the case if I worked in the Capitol.
Nobody despises you.
Oh, don't get me started.
I'm not.
Don't make me start telling truths that you are very well aware of to back up my position. But it'd be true, though. If I worked down in the Capitol, I would even move it. Oh, never mind. By the way, Jay Inslee just hates the environment, too. He's been talking about, for so long, about wind energy, that he wants more wind. Whoosh. Well, a wind turbine's blades can be longer than a Boeing 747 wing. So at the end of their lifespan, they can't just be hauled away. You need to saw through the fiberglass using a diamond-encrusted industrial saw to create 3 pieces small enough to be strapped to a tractor-trailer, and then they are taken to a landfill because they cannot be recycled. And so landfills are starting to fill up with fiberglass and fiberglass shards from wind turbine blades that are being disposed of around the country. That doesn't sound very environmentally sound. Next up in the big lead.
The Big Lead, Big Local.
Speaking of not caring about you, your life, the things you care about, there were a couple of days this week where the commute was disastrous. Yeah, for some people, it was almost 2 hours when it ordinarily is less than an hour from some of the stories that I was hearing. And as I mentioned, the Democrats in Olympia have dropped a bill that would deprioritize congestion relief for WashDOT. They want gridlock. They despise you for having to drive a car. So how are they spending our money? Well, up by Northgate on I-5, and on the other side of the freeway, on the west side, is North Seattle Community College. They are building a $63 million pedestrian bridge. Now, 4 blocks south of this planned bridge is an I-5 overpass. And on that overpass are sidewalks where pedestrians can cross the freeway safely. But they would have to walk 4 blocks south to get to that overpass, and then they'd have to walk 4 blocks north to get to either the college or Sound Transit. And so their plan is to spend $63 million on one of the most expensive pedestrian bridges ever built. It is I'm sorry, I was going to say it's unbelievable. But according to Jenny Durkin, it's exciting.
And we're going to have great housing, great restaurants, NHL facility.
That's what it's all about, right? Infrastructure for corporations. But we'll let the little people sit in gridlock. We won't do anything. In fact, we will continue to try to engineer more gridlock. But, the corporations, whatever they want. 63 mil, you got it. And that is your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
Last night on Tucker Carlson's show, he had a great in-depth piece on some of the most shocking legislation to ever be introduced in the United States. And not very many people are talking about it, but I want you to hear what they have discovered, and you shall, next on the Dori Monson Show.